Welcome to Keepers of the Word. We're an esoteric study group of Freemasons whose purpose is of sharing knowledge of mystery schools and debunking misconceptions about Freemasonry. You're here with Mike and Ron. Thank you for tuning in. The disclaimer: any of the opinions expressed on Keepers of the Word do not reflect the opinions of other organizations or Masonic lodges. So, who are we here with today, Mike?
Johnny Arias at Elizabeth Street Tattoo in Riverside. And I'm about to get tatted.
Yep. Today's topic is on the subject of tattoos, origins, practices, the tribal portion of it, the esoteric connection to it, and all things tattoos. So, and we're getting tattooed live today. Why we're here doing this?
So this might be a little interesting for me, since I'm in the hot seat. So Johnny, tell us a little bit about where you started, how you started, and background.
I've been tattooing for about 11 years now. I got into it through one of my friends, Toby. He actually apprenticed me after losing my job back in 2006, if you guys recall the
crash.
Yeah. I was working for a mortgage company back then. At the time, I was working as an IT network engineer.
Oh.
And so, I was there almost 12 years. But then when I got the pink slip, it was like, well, what am I going to do now? And fortunately, it was a gift and a curse at the same time.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I had a family to support and whatnot. So I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do now? And my buddy had always encouraged me to tattoo since we were teenagers. And so we spoke a couple days after that, after I got laid off, and he said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we finish what we started, because we had started talking about it early on, when I was maybe like 19 or so. So yeah, it ended up working out, and here I am 11 years later. Yeah.
And we're about to get started, so go ahead and keep on talking, Ron. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm not going to get any more ready. It's rock.
You ever been kissed by a butterfly?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any kind of an art background, Johnny, that drove you into this, or?
Yeah, I've been into art since I was a kid. I've always drawn, and I've always been doing some form of art or another. And then, when I decided to take this seriously, the company had they had given me a severance package, something to the tune of like 40 grand, So that's why I was able to actually not work and apprentice and do this and make it happen. So with that time, while I was apprenticing, I went to school and I took numerous art classes and just got myself immersed in the art world, so to speak. So that's my background, and then been doing it every day ever since. So 11 years.
You said, right?
Yeah, I said 11 years.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite tattoo to do? Or
Favorite style?
Favorite style, yes.
Favorite style.
I specialize in a lot of more esoteric, heavy symbolism. A lot of people see me for that. As you can see here, I've created a sacred space for tattooing, and you guys know my handle on Instagram is Rite of Passage, and for numerous reasons you guys can connect the dots. But for those that aren't initiates of any sort in any type of order, it's a rite of passage nonetheless, and oftentimes it's not only a rite of passage into adulthood for a lot of the youngsters, because we do live in a college town, so we have four colleges here in town, and so not only is it a rite of passage into adulthood, but as they get to know me, as the years go by, because most people don't just get one tattoo, but as the years go by, they get to know me and we talk, and things get deeper, and they open up, and they start to realize, after spending a time, you hang out in here for an hour, you start to pick up on some things. And then conversations change, and one thing leads to another, and what typically tends to happen is they tend to open up and they feel like they've actually found someone where they can talk to, someone that they can talk to about things that they normally don't talk about. Because how many people do we know outside of the order, outside of the craft, that are actually talking about this sort of stuff? Any type of path of enlightenment, self-mastery, any of the wisdom traditions, nobody, it's a subculture within a subculture, you know, and to even talk of those things is really obscure.
Yeah,
you know?
it's very niche.
Yeah.
My knowledge of tattooing is that it started in tribal communities. For instance, the headhunters. I know Wang Od is one of the oldest living tattoo artists that tattooed the headhunters in the Philippines, and I have a friend that's been there and gotten a tattoo from her, and you know that just going to get the tattoo with Wang Od is a journey, because you have to trek through the jungle to even get to where her village is to get the tattoo. And so that's my knowledge of. Plus, I mean, the ancient Scots and the Vikings and the, you know, all of those people were getting tattoos.
The Picts. You go back to the Picts of I think it was northern Scotland. I believe it's in Scotland. The Picts. Mm-hmm. They would tattoo themselves in blue. I don't know what they used for that ink. And then the Mayans, they also tattooed themselves, and that was also a rite of passage. So in order to get, you know, your stripes, you had to earn them, whether you were hunting for the family, or, you know, trying to bring home the bacon. And you got your stripes, or, you know, you defended your tribe, you got your stripes. I guess the rite of passage applies to almost all indigenous cultures, right? Because even the Maori of New Zealand, they have their whole faces tattooed.
And they mark themselves.
They mark themselves.
Sure.
The Samoans, they do some crazy intricate Polynesian designs, and those were all, you have to earn those. You can't just, you know, just get them, right?
You know, if you think about it, it's pretty much just another initiatic experience, like whether it be becoming part of a mystery school or going through the degrees of Masonry. It's an initiatic experience that only those that have been through it and sat down and had the needle put to their skin and felt the pain and went through the markings and the process. Only they understand it. You know, other people can see it and maybe appreciate it and do the research on it and think that they know what it's like to be part of an initiatic experience, including being marked.
Right. And also, I think a lot of people come to Brother Johnny because he understands that esoteric side and the symbolism behind it. You could go to any, you know, tattoo parlor and talk about certain symbols, and it's not going to be 100% that the person getting ready to tattoo is going to know what that is, or know the you know, the history behind it or where it came from. So this is a definite plus, right?
Yeah, they'll do it. I mean, any tattoo artist will gladly take your money after all. And
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you can't blame them. But at the same time, if it's me, for instance, or you guys obviously understand, if I'm getting a sacred mark on me, I want the transmission to be real. You know,
Exactly.
It's all about that transmission. You know, so if it's more than just a piece of art, it's that energetic transmission. You know, with intention. It's handmade with care, but yet with intention. You know,
Correct.
Understanding some of the symbolism behind a lot of these designs is, I think, of most important. That's where you get the sacred experience.
Exactly. Like, I feel it's very important for me to get this tattoo by you. You're a brother. You're putting the brand on me, and to me, that's very important. It's special, sacred for me. Yeah.
So with that being said, what is your opinion, Johnny, of people that aren't brothers putting the mark of the light on someone who is a brother?
I find it odd I find it really odd. There's just I can't even understand it. I wouldn't be able to bring myself to get tattooed such a sacred mark, especially a square and compass or anything that has to do with the craft. I couldn't imagine getting that done by anyone other than a brother,
right.
you know, and not more so than that, a brother that actually understands, you know.
Yeah.
Because, you know, let's say someone is a newly initiated. Yes, they're a brother, but there's still yet so much that they don't understand. On the flip side to that, that can be a great time for fellowship and camaraderie.
Yeah.
And if the newly initiated brother tattooer doesn't know much, then that can be a segue to a whole different conversation, which that in its own right is super cool.
Yeah.
After all, we're fraternal.
Right. Yeah. It's oh, okay. What else you got, Ron?
I'm so ready to get some ink done. I'm just like,
Don't think of that.
every single time it's another. I guess that's part of the experience of getting tattooed is that once you have the markings and you want to get more markings, and it just becomes such a
There's memories in your life.
every
man.
single one that
Pieces
you get.
that you've earned.
Yep.
You know. It's
Milestones,
definitely memories, things that you've done. You know.
My most recent tattoo, I actually had some of my dad's ashes mixed into the ink and got an eagle over my heart. My dad was an eagle guy. He loved eagles, so I have a piece of my dad actually with me and a representation of something that he loved so much. So, you know, that's near and dear to me. That's probably my most sacred tattoo that I consider on my markings, other than my Masonic ink.
Right on. I think my first tattoo I got on this arm, it was one of the Mayan hero twins, and when I first got it, it was from a homie who like shouldn't have been tattooing.
Right.
And he did it with, you know, a homemade deal, and it hurt a lot, and he scarred the shit out of me. And even though I went through a lot of shit with it, it just means that much to me, because, you know, that was the time that my son was born, and it was a hard time, and it was also very enlightening at the same time. It was a wake up call, you know. Responsibility is here.
Yeah, with parenting and family and all that.
Yeah. I was like 22.
Oh yeah, same here.
So-
Yeah. So your son's what, 20, 21 now?
He's 19. He just turned 19, August 31st.
And my daughter will be 21 in November. And,
Oh,
and it was a similar thing, you know. It was the realization that it's no longer about me kicked in. So now it's about us.
Exactly.
Everything that you do, it's about us. So you can no longer spend, you know, $500 on a guitar or whatever you want, because it affects us, you know. So that part was cool.
That was a big transition for me, you know, and I marked myself with it. And of course, one day I would love to have it retouched up or redone the right way, you know, but it's a lot of scar, bro. A lot of scar tissue. That shit hurts.
Can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Oh. So, Johnny, what was your most memorable experience that you've had while you've been tattooing? Do you have something that sticks out specifically in your mind?
Nothing that sticks out specifically off the top of my head.
Okay.
I'm sure there's something in there, but nothing that off the top of my head.
I mean, this is an awesome sacred space that you have here, so I can imagine that every single experience that you would be right here would have to be meaningful in some way, shape, or form, especially if you're inking on brothers.
Was there ever a tattoo or something you just didn't want to do? Or you said no to?
Yeah, one of the most memorable is this younger kid came in, and he was 18, and he came in with his girlfriend, and he wanted his girlfriend's name across his jawbone.
Oh,
right?
man.
And but the thing is, we tattoo a lot of different people here, man. There's a lot of different walks of life. So you don't know. This kid might be a pro skater, pro surfer. We're in Southern California. You don't know what this kid is doing, you know. And he might come in and just be totally set for life. But you know, there were some red flags. One being that I didn't see any tattoos on him when he walked in. And then, two, his age. He's so young, and he just wants to go straight for the face, which is crazy. In our industry, anything from the neck up and the wrist down, really, you know, hands, neck, and face, we call them job stoppers. That's the term in this industry. And so to blast this kid with a job stopper, it's like, not on my watch, man. I'm not at all interested in being responsible for this kid's demise, you know. But I wasn't quick to turn him down. What I asked him was just basically, so what do you do? You know, just feeling him out, you know, being responsible. And so I was like, so what do you do? And he says, well, I just recently got laid off, but I was working at the Cardi's distribution center. Okay. That's a little bit of a red flag. And I'm like, are you going to school, man? What are you doing right now? Nah, it's just not for me. Okay, red flag number 2, right? You still living at home, or what's up, you know? Because he still might say, I got some stuff on the side, you know? Yeah, I'm still at home. How long have you been with your girlfriend? You're wanting to do her name on your jawbone, right? How long have you been with your girlfriend? And he looked at her and then proceeded to tell me, like 6 months. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden he was like, hey man, what's all the question? I'm like, you don't know where I'm getting at? And then I glance over at his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's like looking at me like I've been trying to tell her. Right. And so I was like, yeah, look, you don't have a job right now, you're living at home, you're not going to school, you're 18, and you want your face tattooed. Let's think about this, you know? And so he agreed, and he didn't move forward with it. And I actually even talked him out of getting his girlfriend's name at all, you know, period. Yeah. And yeah, funny thing is, he came back a few months later for a tattoo. We did a tattoo on his shoulder, and he wasn't with his girlfriend anymore. And we talked about all that, so it was like, you know, did him a solid, and then I've done quite a few tattoos on him ever since, you know, but
You were real with them, man.
I was, man. Hey, you know, it's easy to get paid and just sit them down and do that, but you know, it's unethical, you know. Yeah. It's unethical tattoo practice, in my opinion.
What's the longest returning customer relationship that you have? Because I personally think, you know, I have a pretty long standing relationship with a tattoo artist that I've been getting a lot of my stuff from. My right sleeve's completely done by him. He's done multiples on my wife. He's done multiples on my daughter. He's really become a friend of the family, you know. And we sit down and have a, you know, like you were mentioning earlier, we're having conversations why he's banging the needle on me, and you know, it started in the very beginning with the first tattoo he put on me. My wife was pregnant at the time, and his wife was pregnant at the time. They were going to name their daughter Mia, and we were naming our daughter Marcellus. So, you know, Mia and Marcellus Wallace, and we connected right away. Exactly. So I've been going to see him for 16 years, right? So what's your longest?
I have some that I still have quite a few that have been with me for many years. I have a handful, I'd say, that have been around for a good 9-10 years. Since the beginning, yeah, close to the beginning. And it's interesting because you can see the progression, you know, from when I first started to what I'm doing now, you know, and even the styles and all that, because it takes a while to find your niche and what you like to do and all that. You know, in the beginning, you kind of go through that phase where you're doing everything, and you know, almost pride yourself on being a jack of all trades, like, yeah, I can do it all, you know. And then if people are going to find their own style, one of my buddies who's been in the industry a long time, he told me, like, I think it was my second year in, he told me, you know, for most guys, if they're going to find their niche or their style, it's usually around the 7th or 8th year, somewhere around there. Like after you have enough experience and you've done enough and seen enough to kind of hone in on a style that you like to do, and if you can, you build a portfolio and a clientele based solely on that. You know, so if people come to you for other things, it's not that you can't do them; it's just that you flat turn them away. And I turn away tons of work nowadays. You know, and then anymore, for the most part, people they'll look at the portfolio. The clientele today is a lot more educated, so they look at portfolios and they kind of know what they're going to get, even prior to contacting you, you know?
Do you think that the shows like Ink Master and the old show like Miami Ink has impacted the industry in a positive way?
It's definitely popularized it, and there's no denying that tattooing today is more popular than ever. I mean, there was a Newsweek article that came out in 2018, and they interviewed, there was, I think, 9,054 respondents, right? And they found that there was a good, I think it was 46% of the population had at least one tattoo. Those numbers are big, you know? Yeah. And then, you know, it's not just for younger people either, because of those numbers, there was something like the age group between 29 and 49. Of those, I think 36% had at least one tattoo, you know? And then also, they found that, what was it? 30% of college students today have at least one tattoo. So it's a good time to be a tattoo artist. So I'd say that it's influenced it and impacted the industry in a positive way in terms of, you know, having enough work to go around. Now, that's not to say that tattooers can survive, you know, because I know a lot of tattooers, they get into it. There's a romantic notion with being a professional tattoo artist that I think a lot of people aspire to, but the truth is, to actually make it in this industry and create a clientele and be good enough to where you can support a family, that takes a lot of grit and hard work, and a lot of people aren't ready to grind that way. They want to, especially early on, they want to party, they want to live it up, and they're able to do that if they live at home with mom and dad, and you know, on their dime, they can do the whole rock star thing. But when it comes to actually, like, okay, adulting 101, right? Getting their own place by themselves, or just
a mortgage, a car payment,
right,
kids,
right.
schools.
Not going to happen.
Right.
Not going to happen. That's at that point, I would say that they have to take their craft to the next level and get serious and buckle down and then just grind.
Do some really dope work. Yeah. Get it out there. Go to the conventions.
Yeah. And just keep your head in the game and get better. Yeah.
Do you see yourself being a tattoo artist for your long term, for the rest of your life? Do you see yourself transitioning into the art world? I've seen several tattoo artists that they tattoo for a while and they finally get to the point where they can do what they want, and they usually want to just promote their art and occasionally tattoo. Do you see yourself going that way, or do you think I'll probably be doing this?
I think I'm currently working on a plan B, if you will. What that plan B entails, I don't really know. I do love writing, and I love reading. I mean, I read a lot. I mean, so far this year, we're in 2019. Since January, I'm on my 45th book. Wow. I read a lot. And so, but I also like to write a lot as well, and I like to journal. So, who knows? I mean, maybe as things slow down, if I'm able to get some published work out there and do that sort of thing, who knows? Right now, I'm not super focused on it because I'm in the middle of my tattoo career, and I am enjoying it, and I love the freedom that it affords me. I'm able to generate an income and support my family, but I bring out the 24-inch gauge, and it's all balanced. I'm not working 15 hours a day, grinding and stressing out. I'm not doing that at all, man. You know, I'm really just balancing out my life, you know, and living the life that I want. And because of the freedom in my schedule and whatnot, it affords me that opportunity. And so I'm in a pretty good place with that. You know, I wouldn't change things anytime soon, but you know, I am 43 now, so maybe within the next 10 years, start looking at a transitional phase, you know, and then we'll go from there, you know.
Is there any artists that you looked up to, or you know, any of the old timers that were around, or that you've gotten tattooed from?
I'm really good friends with Jack Rudy, who's the owner of Good Time Charlie's.
Yep.
We've traveled a lot together. We've hung out a lot together. Our wives are good friends. He's been a mentor in many ways. So Jack for sure, you know. And there's others as well. Another guy that played an integral role in my coming up was a guy by the name of Joe Capobianco. We've become really good friends through the years, and another guy like Jimmy Lidlock and
Jimmy Lidlock.
yeah,
He was on Ink Masters.
he was, yeah. Mike McCaskill, who works here, he just works on the other side of this wall. He was on Ink Master as well.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. But yeah, there's quite a few guys that have played an integral role in my tattoo career, you know, just offering sage advice and, you know, wise counsel, and camaraderie and friendship, you know, 'cause it's, I think that's the most important part is like becoming friends with guys, not only because they're good artists, but because you actually bond, you know, and
Somebody you like hanging out with.
right. Yeah, and it's funny because like when we're hanging out, we don't talk about tattoos because we're interested in each other's personal lives and like just this. And really what it boils down to is the camaraderie and fellowship that we see in Masonry. You know what I mean? It's like you just
Uniquely enjoy the other
yeah.
person's company.
Yeah.
And how you doing over there, Mike?
I'm good. It's not bad.
Yeah,
Of course, it's, you know, it's a tattoo, man.
it's got to hurt a little.
It's gonna hurt a little bit.
I know so many people that want to, you know, try to take some kind of pain relievers or something before they go in.
Well,
and
that's something
and
you got to earn, man.
that's my opinion too.
Yeah.
I want to feel a certain amount
you
of
want
pain.
to feel that pain
Yeah.
because that's what makes it real, right?
Yeah. It's part of the passage.
Yeah. Here we go. So we're back. We're live. Got Ron on the seat.
My turn.
Got mine done. Very light hand. Didn't hurt as much as I thought it would. And it was an excellent experience. Definitely want to come back here again. I feel very comfortable and in my own element. So thank you very much, Johnny. We'll hug after. Okay. So we've been talking offline about a whole bunch of topics. Did any of those topics stick out to you the most, Ron? Something that you want to talk
Of
about?
course, as soon as we have microphones in our faces.
Right?
Well, we were talking about a lot of just the esoterics within Freemasonry and how Johnny's been involved with the lecture series at South Pasadena and how where keepers came from and what we've been doing and just all of that. I think that was really comfortable discussions. Of course, our candids behind the scenes are always a lot easier to do than trying to sit down and interview somebody. Right, exactly.
So I think we were talking about going back to the conversation of esotericism and certain lodges that, decide to go outside of the norm and do things that are, well, not bad, but
different.
right? And we kind of stick our heads out there just to see, and there's a lot of interest, and I feel especially millennials we were talking about earlier, they're really interested in the esoteric. Again, Johnny said they're looking for something. They don't know yet, but they're looking for something. And I don't know how the Elks Lodge is looking, but I know how we're looking, and I don't see a huge influx, but I do see a spike. I do see a spike in interest in the esoterics, and I believe the lodges that have this knowledge
Some
and
type of education,
this Masonic education or esoteric education in general, they're the ones that are actually reaping the benefits, because they're pulling in new members, they're pulling in people who are interested in this side of Masonry, and I think it's for me it's a positive. Of course, there's going to be those folks that just don't agree. I mean, we've obviously dealt with that, and it is what it is. But I think where we're at now, it's a comfortable space, and we could only grow from here. It's not going to take away from anything. I feel it's adding to what Masonry is, and it's giving those folks out there that are like, oh man, I didn't know you guys were into that kind of stuff, or you guys really delved into that type of knowledge.
It's definitely, it's cool when either new brothers or even sometimes old brothers that have been around for a long time come in and find something that they didn't expect to find within Masonry, whether it be the esoterics or I've been really fortunate to have a lot of people come up to me as being part of the Ruffians MC and have people be like, wow, I didn't know you had bikers in Masonry. Like,
yeah,
we're people, whatever our interests are.
It's a little bit of everything, baby.
People with tattoos.
People do the tattoos, and yeah, I think it's a good kaleidoscope of different people that make up Masonry, and the people that you would rule out into esoterics, they're usually the ones that are deep into it, right?
Sometimes.
Right. It's a cool place to be right now. It's fun. I'm enjoying.
And I'm glad to see more and more brothers that are tattoo artists, because I know many years ago when I first started contemplating even getting any kind of Masonic tattoo, I didn't want just anybody to mark me. I wanted it to be a brother, so, and back when I first started looking, I didn't find anybody, I mean, somebody like Zulu was like one of the few around at the time that was a brother that was doing tattooing. And so, now it's nice to see more and more brothers, and maybe they've been there and I just didn't know they were there, and I'm being exposed to them now. But it certainly seems that within the last 5 or 10 years, as tattooing has grown and blown up, we're seeing more brothers that are involved in this field.
Yeah, this is where Joe cut. And we keep rolling. What else were we talking about? There was a couple other subjects that were. I don't want to get into that one subject because that's controversial, and I just don't want to raise any eyebrows right now. I think we're cool with everyone, and I want to keep it that way. So let's just move forward in positive light. But I think in the direction of the craft is we have to be innovative. It's just like business, man. You have to be innovative. You have to think about change and think 10 years down the line. And in doing this and building esoteric lodges and creating these groups, the feedback that I've gotten from other folks at other lodges where I wish we had this, or I wish we had the Masonic education. And what the truth is I wish we had that at my lodge when I was going through it, and we decided to create it. So if it doesn't exist, create it, make it.
How many people did we see at Esotericon that stopped and looked at our Chamber of Reflection, talk about, I wish we had this at our lodge?
And it's
and
one
what
of
did
those,
we say to them?
Oh, dude, just make it. Go out there and create it. I mean, that's we actually got, our inspiration through South Pasadena Lodge. Julio Luna took us through it and talked to us about how he did it, what he said, and we were just amazed at, like, wow, I wish I had this experience. And then boom, no, we're gonna do it, man. So far we've been doing a lot of we're gonna do it, man. With this Keepers of the Word, Esotericon, it's just been a crazy ride, but a fun one.
Received a text from a worshipful master that he wants us to design their reflection room, chamber of reflection.
Well, let's do it.
Awesome.
Totally down. Just got to buy a couple things and have some guys paint, and there you go, dude. Oh yeah. What lodge? Garden Grove. Okay. Right on.
Can you even fathom that we contemplated not going through with Esotericon?
You know what? It's the project manager in me, and me doing events in the past, I have to be able to calculate certain things, right?
Yeah.
And at certain areas of the project, you have to understand that, okay, it makes more sense to pull back than to go forward, because if you go forward, you're just going to lose out completely. But that wasn't the case in this. We had early interest early on, and I think it was priced right for the first time, and now we can adjust a little bit and grow it from there. But I think the planning was there, the personnel was there, and as Johnny was talking about earlier, everybody has their own specific niche in the group that they're good at, and it all went out perfectly. Like DJ Omen was on stage. He was directing that. He had that down packed. Like, I remember going up to him, hey, man, and I started talking on the mic. He's like, hey, bro, I already said that. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to leave you alone, dude. I'm sorry. That's just the control freak in me. And, when we're doing events, and that's just, sorry. Okay. And I just let him go. And then James had the lecture room. We had the front. I mean, it was just all moving.
We thought we were going to have to do so much more work than what we did.
No,
with
everybody pulled their weight. Everybody pulled through.
Yep.
It went seamlessly, and that's how the beehive works. That's how we make the honey, baby. That's the sweet, sweet honey. That's how we do it. And I look forward to doing more and creating more experiences. And it's magic when you have people, especially brothers, walk up to you and shake your hand and say, hey, you know what? This was a great event, and I appreciate you guys doing this. It's like, wow, thank you. To me, that meant everything right there. It was really cool. We tried getting tattoo artists to show up and do work, but that didn't work out. Maybe it's not the platform for that. I don't know, but it would have been nice to. Yeah, I think it could work out. Maybe we nudge Johnny.
Maybe the ideas that we were talking about with the dark what we were talking about. We don't want to tease that yet, but some ideas we're talking about for next year's Esotericon. It would probably tie in nicely with that.
Tie in really nicely with it. Change it up a little bit, and raise a little eyebrows too. But hey, it's gonna be fun, and I think that's what brought the whole thing together, is that everybody was having so much fun. It was networking. It was putting all of these different mystery schools together under one roof and different modalities together, and it made that magic, right? Like you walked in that room and you started talking to different people, and it was just all positive. It was fun. It was great, and
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it just made sense, and I think that's the magic behind it all. How you feeling, Ron? Very good? Prickly?
Little butterfly kisses.
You're getting kissed by a butterfly? Fuck.
They kiss They kiss a little harder near the bottom of the wrist there, but other than that, it's. I
want to give a shout out to Enemy the Illest. Dude, your shirt's awesome. Love you. It's from Hip Hop Connecticut hip hop. He was on tour with Apathy right now. We went and saw Apathy on Sunday. Demigods. I got to meet the real Ryu, which was awesome, and of course Self-Titled. That was a really dope experience. Well, it was for my birthday, and it was
good show and fun time to celebrate your birthday.
Yeah, it was great. It was great for all of us to go and have a good time. I have to thank my wife for that one. She really put it together, and I love you. That was awesome.
This guy walks into the restaurant, and there's a bunch of us sitting there waiting for him, and he had no idea.
No, I had no idea, man. I thought it was just going to be me, my sister, and of course my wife and Sam, my brother-in-law. And when I walk in, I'm like, oh shit! And there's the guys. Right on. That was just.
I see Timmy, and I see Pam, and I see Tommy.
Yeah, that was a great feeling, man. I appreciate it very much. Johnny, in moving forward with the Illumination lectures, where do you see the potential growth in topics? Do you see the topics going? Are you guys ever going to touch into some really dark topics, or are you going to keep everything a little bit on the gray side?
That's a good question. I would imagine, for now at least, we'd continue doing what we've been doing. And also, as different brothers come into the craft, that with that comes different authors, different takes on things, different information, different research. So in time, the lecture series will change as well. The content of it, at least. In terms of the darker stuff, I'm not quite sure. I don't see anything in the near future. But I mean, it would make sense to touch on some things to gain a better understanding of some of the practices and traditions that are out there. If for no other reason than just for simply for wisdom, just out of curiosity.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even know that existed. Oh, I didn't know that order was around. Who are these people? How do you get in? How do you get initiated? What are they into? How dark is it?
Right.
It would be interesting. Just for, like I said, for no other reason than for more knowledge, more light.
Right.
When we did our show with Lon, and we started talking about the Abramelin, that got a lot of hits.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. It's something that people don't talk about, and then having Lon talk about it, it was like, wow, is this really happening?
Yeah.
Well, Lon has a lot of information in that head, and we're trying to get it out.
He does. He definitely does.
To see like Merrick, Polk, Runyon, and Lon in the same room, I was like, wow, dude, this is happening. This is going down, man. I'm just enjoying the meditative state of the pain.
Music's perfect too.
Right?
So
it's like
hypnotic,
grindage.
So hypnotic.
Just grinding. I think longest I've gone through with the tattoo is about 4 hours. I don't think I go past that. After so much time, you're just pissed off. Like you just want to sock somebody. Stop! Enough!
My other artist is heavy-handed
really?
too. Yeah, so when he bangs on me, he bangs hard, dude. The eagle that I just got, it's like right over the breastbone, and it was like, oh man, when he was getting those spots on the breastbone, I was just like, okay, there's a new spot that I didn't know. Like you get those spots sometimes, like the elbow. The elbow is The
Elbow
elbow's
hurts.
not fun.
No.
You know,
collarbone sucks.
Up in the arm, real close to the armpit, where it's real sensitive and tender. You know, it's like I don't have any head tattoos, but everyone that I know that has head tattoos are like, yeah, that's
At some point.
the description that was given to me. A guy that had the top of his head tattooed, and he's like, "Have you ever opened a door and caught your head on the corner of it?" Like, yeah. It hurts. He goes, yeah, imagine that like over and over and over and over and over and over again. I was like, okay, yeah, no, I couldn't imagine that.
I mean, me personally, you know, it's something I always tell my wife, like, and you know, I work in government contracting. I work with, you know, the suit and tie folks, and I want to get my neck tattooed. I want to get, you know, I want the job killer, but I have to earn that. You know, I have to earn that in order to do it, and that's not an easy feat nowadays. So maybe one day, with all these things that we're doing, they start taking fruition, and I'm able to go down that path, because that's just who I am, dude. You know, like, I've always wanted the face tattoos. And the
I
neck
agree.
tattoos.
The neck tattoos. Almost everybody that I've ever seen with a neck tattoo, I'm like, that is so badass, and I'd love to have a neck tattoo. But a long time ago, I basically, when I was starting to get the sleeve going on, I'm like, okay, at this point in my life, I want to look like a gentleman in my tuxedo. My at the time concept of what a gentleman, you know, the old guys at the lodge that put on their, you know, Bob Haynes, and these guys put on a tuxedo, and, you know, I want to look like that. And, you know, I don't know if I'll do that forever. I may wind up getting the mentality of you, like, if get to the point where this is what I want to do.
I mean, you only live once, dude.
I can still be a gentleman with just tattoos showing on my hands and on my neck. So
Definitely.
We'll see.
Definitely, because you gotta. But again, you gotta earn that shit. It doesn't just.
True.
You know, it's not something you just throw on there.
Not something you do when you're 18 years old. And
Yeah.
want to get your girlfriend of 6 months' name on your jaw, on your face, or something, right?
Yeah, it's something you really need to think about. You know, unfortunately, there's still a stigma with tattoos. Although I do feel it's changed a lot, and it's been a lot more accepting. And, you know, especially in the job place, you know, I've seen, you know, people that, you know, when I go to my meetings, you can kind of see full sleeves here and there. And as long as they're covered up, it's cool, right? As long as you're not throwing it out there in front of everybody, it's okay. It's not a big deal in the corporate world. But
well, like I said, my wife and my daughter are both nurses, and when my wife got into nursing 15 years ago, they were still kind of, nurses were covering up their tattoos. Especially if they had anything on their arms, they were wearing long sleeves and stuff like that. But now, you know, my daughter's 28 years old, and she has her tattoos, and she wears her scrubs, short sleeve scrubs that show off, you know, the stuff she has up on her neck and stuff like that. She doesn't have any on. Oh, I take that back. She does have on her arms now. She has Kali on one arm and a female like Native American woman with a headdress on the other arm, because when she started doing the research on the wolf headdresses, it was primarily just a male thing. Like, women don't wear the wolf headdress,
Right.
like within the Native American cultures. And so that was kind of her way of saying, you know, this is part of my female empowerment. She's got a female with the wolf headdress. So she has those, and she goes to work, and it's not an issue, and it is what it is.
I think the thought of it all has changed. I'd say within the last 20 years. I remember when I was growing up, you were gonna get a tattoo. It was like, it started from your shoulder on down. You know, it was in places where you can hide it without without having any issues.
Or you can wear a tank top
You wear
and
a
show
tank top
off
and
what
show
you're
off
trying
and-
to.
Yeah. Now these kids nowadays want it on their necks. They want it on their hands, all over their arms. And I get it. You know what? They're creating a different type of acceptance now, which, you know, of course we're going to look at and be like, oh my God, what are you guys doing? But then, of course, our parents looked at us and said the same thing. So I don't know. I think times are a changing, and we got to be receptive to those changes. And I think that applies to not just tattooing, but life in general, you know, and we need to be a little more tolerant to things and kind of understand the meanings behind them. Why are you doing this, and what does it mean to you?
Agreed.
10-4. See, what else were we talking about? We're talking about other stuff. Talking about, okay, tattoo and symbolism, sacred symbolism. Johnny, in doing certain types of sacred symbolism or tattoos, and you know, are there certain things that you stay away from, that you don't want to do? No, you're open to all of it. Okay.
Do you find that all of the clients that come in wanting some type of sacred symbolism understand that piece of symbolism? Are all of them understanding it? Most of them?
I would say a lot of them don't, but they love the idea behind it. And it means something to them, you know? And then as we dive into the tattoo, we start talking about it, I think that becomes the process. I think that becomes the rite of passage, if you will, you know? And their understanding of that said symbolism deepens, and it makes it that much more of a sacred experience, if you will, you know? But no, to answer your question, a lot of people don't, you know, and a lot of tattooers don't know what they're tattooing either. And I see a lot of stuff that's tattooed incorrectly, and the client's definitely not going to know. But you know, and if the tattooer doesn't know, then it's, you know, what do you do? If someone says, okay, hey, this is what I want, and you don't understand what's going on, the whole meaning can be misconstrued.
Right. And I think that's the important part with symbolism, and especially ancient symbolism. You know, as keepers of the word, I feel it's our duty to educate and, you know, let people know what these things mean and how they should be used. Of course, not dictating, but just educating. And being able to show you, okay, this is what this is about, and this is how it's applied and why it's applied and the purpose behind it. And then from there you make your decision. You know, do you want to apply that into your life? Do you want to use it? Whatever works for you.
I think that's where the consultation comes in handy for me, because I do consultations with all my clients, you know. So during the consultation period, they'll come and they'll see me, and we'll figure out what they're wanting, what that symbol may be, what it means to them, and we can build on it often, you know, which is pretty nice. There's different ways that we can build on it, and once I understand where someone's coming from, then it's easy for me to add my own elements too, you know, and explain to them what I've done with a particular pattern or design, and that ends up working out well too. And it's more special too for them.
That's great.
Yeah, I think that's really cool that you say that you have the consultations, because like so many times, like I have friends that'll be like, oh, I'm going to get a tattoo this weekend. I'm like, oh, cool. What are you getting? Oh, I don't know yet. And like, it just like immediately I'm just like, oh, it's so frustrating, because I mean, first of all, if you're going to have somebody mark you and it's 2 days away and you haven't decided what you're going to be marked yet, it just, to me, it seems, no.
Like, for instance, my son, he's got a whole bunch of tattoos, a bunch of just funny shit. Some of it's meaningful to him. Some of it has some symbolism. But in general, in their genre and their demographic, and kids that age, he's 19. That's their thing. That's what they're growing up around. That's what they're being shown. Like Trippie Redd, Triple X, all these rappers, especially where he's at in Broward County. That's prevalent. That's what it is. So I told him straight up, like, he got some job killer tattoos recently. He got some stuff on his neck. He got some stuff on his face. I said, okay, so you have a choice. One, you work at Hot Topic for the rest of your life, or two, make it. Go out there and live your art. Go do it, and it can happen as long as you work hard and you do your diligence and you master your craft. Why not? I'm not gonna be that parent that says, no, you're fucking up, you're doing it wrong. No, dude, you're gonna have to fuck up on your own. You're gonna have to learn on your own, and then build yourself up from there. That's just what it is, dude. And as an adult myself, I have certain things that I have to live up to, especially in the field of work that I'm in. There's just certain things that you have to hold, sacred, and especially when you're meeting with people, people judge you. Yeah. Of course, if you were to close your eyes and talk to that person, you probably wouldn't think, by looking at, oh man, this person's in tattoos. No, it's people are going to judge you by the way you look, and it's unfortunate that we do that, but it's a part of who we are as people, right? So, I don't know. He's going to have to learn the hard way, and
and if those tattoos are what is the motivating factor for like the beginning of his journey,
exactly,
then
go do it.
Awesome.
And get hard at it, and
exactly
take it serious. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be Slow Burn Joe, go be Slow Burn Joe, but be the best fucking Slow Burn Joe you could fucking be. I just plugged him, Slow Burn Joe. You can find him on SoundCloud. So if you're in a trap, that's the kid to watch. Notice all his friends are, the LTG crew, Southside Scola, Dead Bows, Spookjit, all those cats. They have a very distinct sound, and it's really interesting listening to them, perform and do their craft. And I think they're doing a great job. It's just you got to keep on doing it. You got to keep on performing. You got to perfect it. And just like in any craft, the more you do it, the better you get. And I think here's a perfect example. Brother Johnny, who worked in a profession that I work in right now, network engineering and facilities networking and all that stuff. That's a different world than this. And he took it. He left that world and came here and made something of it, because he did put in the work. He did put in the hours and really focused on his
honing the craft.
Yeah, his niche and what he wants to do with it. And he manifested his own reality, which is inspiring to me.
Imagine that, a brother honing his craft, right?
Close it up, wrap it up.
Sure.
All right, so we're here at Johnny Arias' Rites of Passage at Elizabeth Street Tattoo. Where can we find you, Johnny? Where can our audience make an appointment to come see you?
I'm at Elizabeth Street Tattoo in Riverside, as you mentioned, which is the address is 3730 Elizabeth Street in Riverside. And then I have an Instagram account where you can find me. It's Rite of Passage, at Rite of Passage.
We'll post that.
Cool.
Definitely. But I want to make sure it's up on everything.
Yeah, and then I also have a website, johnnyarias.com. And that's a good way to get a hold of me as well.
Right on.
It's probably the best way. I'm not on social media much. I log on probably twice a week, so I'm not active. Because you're reading.
Because you're reading.
Because I'm reading.
45 books already in. Yeah, he's reading. He's probably reading.
Yeah.
So, you know what, Johnny, I want to say thank you very much for letting us
Yes,
do
thank
this.
you.
This is a sacred experience for me, and I greatly appreciate you. And thank you for supporting us, and we love you, and thank you very much. That's all I can say. Thank you.